trained to be a warrior. He was trained to be this type of soldier. He was trained to be this fighter in the battle. And David said unto Saul, now this is where David reveals, hey Saul, you don't know the battles that I've fought. Let me tell you. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep. He's notice again, sheep. The sheep herder is sheep. The word sheep is mentioned in here about three times. David acknowledged he was a servant. David just acknowledged he's a sheep herder. Right in one sentence. Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. Right? Now David indemnifies this lamb from the lion and the bear. Now if you know a lion and a bear, these are two heavyweight animals, man, that can take you right out. The lion is the king of the jungle. You don't mess with the lion. Lions are very, very, very peaceful animals. And they don't get mad unless you mess with them. They get mad, they're irate and they're acrimonious when they're hungry, when they're famished, and when people start messing with them. That's when they're ready to tear you apart. Otherwise, animals are very, very peaceful animals. If you look at lions, they're very peaceful. They could be very docile, very peaceful animals. When you look at bears, bears are the same way. We know how bears are. Bears are very gluttonous, right? Always want to eat something. Can't have anything in your car, right? We see these horror stories all the time. We know how bears are. Bears are the same way, but these are two very... Imagine fighting a bear or a lion, much less. But this is what David says. He took this lamb out of the flock, basically from the lion and the bear, and I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. The lamb out of the lion and the bear's mouth. And he arose against me, and I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Now David is revealing he's a warrior. Thy servant, now he's saying again, see the dichotomy, see the paradox in that one sentence. David is saying, thy servant, right? I mean a servant, slew both the lion and the bear. Servant versus warrior. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. Alright? Defied the armies of the living God. Again, repeated, he defied the armies of the living God. And David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion, and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. So David is talking about faith and God's deliverance. So David believes, if God delivered me out of the lion's paw and out of the bear paw, what make you think that he will not endow me with the strength to, defy and destroy this Philistine, to conquer and to vanquish this Philistine, right? And he's trying to tell that to Saul. And we're going to see how that happens. We're going to see exactly how that happens. You're going to see how it happens. And that definitely is, I think that's paradigmatic of sufferance, which is patient endurance. Right? David is being patient. He's enduring this kind of criticism that he's getting, this kind of doubt that is circulating around him, around his person. His character is being questioned. And he has patient endurance, but David knows in his gut that he's going to kill this Goliath. And he's going to be the one Israelite that's going to stand up, because he knows that he's chosen by God to save Israel and to prove to everybody that Israel is truly God's homeland. It's truly God. It's God's chosen people, and David is going to be the one to do it. I love this story because when I read this, I feel like I can conquer anything. So no matter what you're going through, if you're going through difficulty in the workplace, if you're going through difficulty in your health, if you're going through difficulty in your personal relationships or with your family, if you're going through something where you really feel you can't bear it, because God gave me numerous things to read when I had to battle, when I had to go through battles at work, everything from harassment to sexual harassment to just plain out illegal things, which I didn't even think could happen in the workplace. But because the economy has collapsed, and it's been this way since 2008, 2009, there are a lot of employers out there that are doing a lot of illegal things, and they're getting away with it. And there are a lot of people that are putting up with it because they figure, I need my job, this person could touch me, or this person can abuse me in this way, but, or, you know, whatever it is in the workplace. But whatever it is in your life, whatever truculent waves are slamming against your front door, just know that God is a vindicator. And God said, vengeance is mine, I will repay. Right? In Romans 19:12, I believe, vengeance is mine, I will repay. Wait, before I go back, let me make sure I got that right. Let me make sure I got that right. Romans 12:19, right? Do not recompense to no man evil, for it is written, vengeance is mine, said the Lord, I will repay. Or is it Romans 19:12? I always get... Oh yeah, it is, Romans 12:19. Yes, I was right. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord. And Deuteronomy 32:35, you could look at that, but I don't want to get off the topic here. I want to stay in David and Goliath. So now reverting back, David talks about, you know, beating up the lion and the bear, basically, to save that lamb. And Saul said to David, go and the Lord be with thee. Okay, we're almost done. And Saul armed David with his armor. Now this is very important, the word armor. We already read the description about Goliath's armor, right? Saul armed David with his armor and put an helmet of brass upon his head. And also he armed him with a coat of mail. Also what Goliath had, right? A coat of mail, this coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his arm, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. So David is not trained in using a sword, right? He's not trained in using a rapier or manipulating a rapier. He's not trained in that. He's not trained in the helmet of brass. He's not trained in the coat of mail, and he knows that. He puts them away. These are useless. I don't know how to use them, so I'm not going to use it. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones of the brook. Now a brook is a small natural stream of fresh water. Now water is paradigmatic of life. And you think of a small stream of fresh water, it's impelling, it's moving, right? It represents life. It's an illustration of life. So 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had. Notice the word shepherd again, because he's a shepherd herder. Even in a scrip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance, of a fair face. Right? So here's this, you know, kind of, how can I say it? Not squalid, but not a neat, not a well-kept person. You know, he's just kind of like the shepherd boy, maybe a little dirt on his face. You know, he's not prim and proper. And the Philistines said unto David, Am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? With a staff. And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Okay. Now, this is interesting too, because David says that he's uncircumcised. And he says it twice. And it says, and the Philistine cursed David by his God. So, I guess the Philistine is saying, oh, my gods will, they'll deliver me, they'll come to my aid, they'll send their auxiliary measures against you, and who's your God, or whatever. I guess that, that's what's going on. But he cursed David by his gods, curse him, curse be the day you ain't gonna win, I'm gonna kill you. And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Right? Basically, David's carcass will be eaten by the fowls of the air and the beasts of the field. Then David said to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear. I love this part. And with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. So David is saying, you come to me, ammunition up with a spear, with a shield, and with a sword. But I come to you with the Holy Spirit, with the Spirito Santo, I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee and take thine head from thee. I love this part when he tells me he will decapitate him. Love it. Love it, because the whole time, Goliath is talking all of this crap. He got all this mouth. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to chop off your head, and I'm going to feed you to the fowls of the air. Okay? And the beasts of the field. That's what I'm going to do to you. And the Philistines are laughing at him like, yeah, look at this little boy, And he said, I will smite thee and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air. The host of the Philistines. He's a captain, he's a leader, right? And to the wild beasts of the earth. And all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. What? And all earth may know what? That there is a God in Israel, because I, little King David, who's not trained to be this big warrior like you, I'm going to defy you, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to take your head, right? And I'm going to use your head and show everybody what I did. Your head is going to be a gift of mine. Right? I'm trying to think of the word. It starts with A. It will come to me. It's going to be a gift of mine that it comes with A. I can't think of it now. It's going to be a gift of mine, and I'm going to show everybody, and I'm going to display your head to everybody and say, yeah, look what I did. Little me, King David, that everybody doubts. Right? Everybody got hearsay to say about. Jesse's son of Bethlehem, yeah. This is what I did. And this is my trophy. His head is going to be a trophy. Okay? Now he says something very important with the word battle. Now after he says that all the earth may know that there is a God in heaven, he said, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with the sword and the spear. The Lord don't save with the sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's. He said the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. He's saying God has designed all of this, and he is going to manipulate you like a chess game. A game of chess. He's going to manipulate you like a game of chess and deliver you into our hands. Because he's the architect. God is the architect and the artisan of this whole thing. And he could design it how he wants. He can measure it how he likes. He can do whatever he likes with it. And it came to pass when the Philistine arose and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone. So how much said he had? They said he had 5 stones. He took 1 stone, just 1, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead. And the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So with 1 stone, David was able to kill Goliath, and he fell upon his face to the earth. Now look at that picture there. It says he fell. Goliath fell upon his face to the earth. Basically, he fell prostrate, right? He was procumbent. Now, when somebody is prostrate and they're lying down with their face to the floor, that's another scene that's in 2 Chronicles 20 that we're going to discuss. But he fell prostrate to the floor with his face to the floor. When people fall prostrate they're to the floor with their face to the floor, and they're beseeching God, imploring God, and even praying and thanking God. Now, he fell prostrate and procumbent to the floor. That is an illustration that, no, you will serve the Lord God of hosts. You will serve the God of Israel. In your death, you have bowed down to God. Now, God blessed David in that second with his slingshot and 1 stone. Okay? He blessed David with nimbleness, which is he was quick in comprehension and movement. Because you have to time everything. He had to be quick. He had to act before, because if he didn't act in such a quick fashion, if he wasn't impetuous, Goliath could have said and just chopped off his head. Goliath is armed, got a sword, but it's all about time. And see, with God, it's all about time, and he knows the perfect time, and he knows the perfect second. Okay, he knows the perfect hour. He knows the perfect time of day. He knows the time. So